home, I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home. Let the rain wash away all the pain of yesterday. I know my kingdom awaits, and they've forgiven my mistakes. I'm coming home, I'm coming home. Tell the
So
world
you think,
I'm
on the
coming
verge of championship status?
I'm back where I belong. Yeah, I never felt so strong. I'm back
running up
feeling
towards
like
the
there's
finish,
nothing I
and so you
can't
think
try.
will win the champion stakes at his 8th Group 1.
And it's So You Think driven out towards the line and will take his prize money through the £5 million barrier.
Coolmore Stud's open day this year in the Hunter Valley of New South Wales attracted around 1,000 people, 500 in the morning, stretching through lunchtime and another 500 in the afternoon, largely to see the return, the first showing of the great stallion in So You Think. Michael, 1,000 people up here again on the Sunday for the stallion parades, and I guess there's so much interest this year with the 4 new stallions. It's a large number to be introducing to the Australian scene.
Yeah, well, I suppose really the star of the show is really So You Think. I think people are, you know, obviously looking forward to seeing him after being in Europe for the last couple of seasons racing, and now he's come back to Australia to go to stud this season. I think he's the star of the show.
Well, I think he has been right around the Hunter Valley. I think the amount of interest, the amount of people talking about So You Think returning has been enormous, because I think, you know, some sections perhaps of the media and just generally have forgotten the cult status that this horse had when he raced here and what he's done overseas.
Absolutely, he's an icon really. He achieved so much down here, winning a couple of Cox plates, and then obviously going to Europe was a big step for him. You know, it's not an easy task to go up there and compete against those, you know, we call probably like champion staying horses, or his distance horses that he would be racing against. You know, winning 5 Group 1s up there was no mean feat.
So Carlton House for the Queen and So You Think. The big 2 in the Prince of Waleses have moved on from Columbian Wigmore Hall. Now on the far side, the Royal Runner Carlton House. So You Think with a narrow advantage. So You Think by a neck from Carlton House. They remain clear, but it's So You Think driven out towards the line, who's 2 to 3 lengths clear and will take his prize money through the £5 million barrier. So You Think, a world star, won the Prince of Waleses.
And he competed in the toughest of races, didn't he? I mean, really, when you look at the places that he competed, you know, Dubai, over in America, in the Breeders' Cup, the Arc, the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe, where he ran on so brilliantly. I mean, they were all, he didn't shirk a thing.
He ran against the best every time and always ran to the best of his ability. You know, as I said to you, like winning 5 Group 1s against that elite company up there, you know, that's when you know you have a racehorse, and he proved himself to be what he is today.
So You Think now going on the outside to throw down his challenge, and he's coming to get him. So You Think now and Show Me Heaven have come through to the stand side to take it up. Workforce and neck behind him in 2nd place, and it's So You Think who won the Corridor Eclipse. To Workforce, Sri Putra and Snow Fairy.
The reception from people that have seen him this morning so far, I guess, has been pretty positive. Just talking to some people out the back there. I mean, the way he's returned, obviously, he did have some problems. He didn't have that last run in Europe, but he's come back, he's gone through quarantine. And how does he look to your eye returning?
He looks great, actually. I saw him, believe it or not, about 6 weeks ago in Ireland when I was over there, and he looked exceptionally well. And he unfortunately picked up a small injury in training, so he, when he entered quarantine, or just before he entered quarantine, I was lucky enough to see him, and he looked well, but he's actually let down now, and he really looks the part. And you know, another couple of months when he gets into his routine of covering mares, whatever, he'll be a different horse again. But he's a fabulous looking horse, great head in him, great physique.
His sire, High Chaparral, well, he's already proven, as we know, over the years. Well, what's been the feedback from mare owners, I guess, comparing the two? Because So You Think has the real buzz, the new buzz about him.
Well, you know, it's always you know, like, it's very difficult to compare the two, obviously, right? One being a son, the other being a father, right? But you know, like, that's the glamour of having these first season horses going to stud, right? Everyone wants to go to a first season horse, and but you know, on saying that, like, High Chaparral has been very well patronised in the last couple of years. So this is his 3rd season here now in Coolmore, Australia, and very, very popular again. And you can see the similarities between the two horses, same colour. You know, big horses, big quality, scopy horses. Yeah, you know, he's the sire of So You Think. So you know, people are going to take notice of him.
And obviously your own mares, you'd be supporting him well, and obviously, you know, there are still 30% shareholders with Dadatan Chinam and Tunku Ahmed and Bart Cummings sending a mare as well. So you really are getting a really wide cross-section of mare owners sending good mares.
Oh, absolutely. This horse has been very well supported. He's, ever since he won that in Ascot this year, people have really grown to him again. You know, because, you know, horses can go a little bit dormant and they, you know, but all of a sudden they just spring back and say, oh God, he won an Ascot this year, you know, something that he didn't achieve last year. And that really made people sit up and look at this stallion, or future stallion. And subsequently, right, he's been, the quality of mares that he's getting is quite phenomenal, really. And, you know, we want to thank Data Chin for sending some of his best mares, and Bart sending good mares to him, we'll send good mares to him. And of course Duncan Ramage, who bought the horse, he's been promoting the horse magnificently out there, and he's obviously got some good mares going to him too from his clients.
And what sort of mares do you think suit him? Obviously he's more a staying type horse, and we know that amazing third in the Melbourne Cup and winning the 2 Cox Plates as a middle distance sort of horse, but he also won as a late season 2-year-old. So what sorts of mares really suit him?
He will suit a wide variety of mares, as most stallions do, right? We obviously don't know going forward, right, what he's going to get, but I think, you know, with quality is always a great thing when it comes to a stallion. If you get quality mares going to a stallion, that is the whole key to him.
But it is all So You Think. Look at him go. This is poetry in racing. So You Think won it eased up by 3 or 4. Elko popped second. He's back on track. Hubigotchu's run third.
Duncan, I guess, of course, having bought the horse, So You Think, at the sales in Karaka, you've been along for a pretty eventful ride over a number of years.
Yes, you know, it started, I suppose, originally when the hammer fell, and we looked around the bidding room with us. The nearest client we had to hammer was a fellow called Dr. Michael Exif, and I offered him a share and he took it under advisement, but Dadatan and Tunku Ahmed stepped in the next day, and the horse was no longer available. But since then it's been an eventful ride all around the world, and a great ride.
I think a lot of the Australian people, you know, whether it be media or a lot of people watching the sale of the horse had found, you know, questions as far as why he had to be sold. But I guess to stand a stallion like this, it's a big ask for any operation, particularly when you have 2 owners.
Well, I think from the horse's own personal point of view, what better could we do for him than being here and the facilities in which he's kept with the world best practice and the biggest farm and the best mares, both ends of the hemisphere. So from a horse, we couldn't have done better by him. And the way, no trainer, no staff, you know, the Think Big staff are here, they don't like the fact that they can't handle the horse. No trainer likes to lose a horse, even if it's a midweek winner at Kembla, let alone a horse of this stature. It's a difficult thing to do, but the horse become too enormous. You know, you have two men who own the horse equally in their 80s, been great lifelong friends, having to decide what to do, and whether to go on with the horse. And we see every day that horses can put their foot in a hole. Look at Atlantic Jewel, you know, she's out. If that had happened to So You Think, enormous pressure comes to bear all round. This way, they're still involved, but the pressure's been handed over to somebody else, Coolmore.
And they do a great job, of course, we know, as far as the marketing of the horse, and maybe some things, as we heard from Aidan O'Brien, didn't quite go to plan when he was racing overseas, but still, to win 5 Group 1s, I mean, that's an enormous boon for the Australian industry, even though he's a New Zealand bred, but he's an Aussie own, effectively, as far as, you know, through Think Big and obviously through Coolmore as well, that he's got that Australian link back, and he's represented Australasia on the world scene.
Well, there's been a lot of conjecture about shuttle stallions versus colonial stallions. And you'll see in the current size tables that the colonials are more than holding their own with the shuttle horses, and Coolmore, Darley are the homes of these shuttle horses. And So You Think you've got both. You've got a horse that's proven in both arenas, bred both ways. He's out of a colonial mare by a shuttle stallion, and he's won these Group 1s in both arenas at the top level. So you've got the real melting pot that's probably taken 25, 30 years to get to. He's the product of it.
And not just the 5 Group 1 wins, but of course he had those great runs in some of the world's the world's toughest races, really, against some amazing opposition. I think we're in a vintage era over in Europe, and some of those horses like a Daydream in the Arc, and horses he beat like Snow Fairy and an English Derby and Arc winner in Workforce. I mean, he's beaten the best, taken on and beaten the best.
Well, he beat a reigning horse of the year in Workforce in the Eclipse, which is one of their time-honoured races, much like, say, our Cox Plate is regarded. No horse, though, has competed in the series of races that he has, ever. No horse has run in the Arc, the Breeders' Cup, the Dubai World Cup, contested them all. He's the only horse to have done that, and to stood up, and to come back and defend himself and win at Royal Ascot when he got tipped out in the last stride the year before.
He did have a slight injury after that. Of course, he didn't have that one final run in Europe. But to your eye, how does he look back here in Australia?
Oh, he looks well-rounded. He looks in good fettle. He's got a good skin. He's always been a phenomenally healthy horse. Just imagine what he's going to look like in a year as a stallion when he does let down.
And the sorts of foals you think he's going to produce? I mean, you were involved, obviously, when he won his first 2-year-old race. And you know, he's obviously gone on massively from there. But he seems as if he could be quite a versatile stallion.
Look, a horse with a lot of leg, whether it's a mare or a stallion, has a big advantage over the short-legged varieties, I'm afraid. And he's got that leg and that stature, so there's no rhyme or reason to assume that he won't throw that into his progeny. Now, I know Jurassic, his mother, was an exceptionally good-looking mare too. It's probably where he gets part of his lineage from, and it should follow through.
So lots of babies. So you think this time next year it's an exciting prospect?
Well, Datto Town in his little boutique farm at Think Big Stud, he's supporting the horse by sending 11. So hopefully he's got a nice draft of So You Thinks to either sell or to put into training.
And the 5-time Group 1 winner in Australia making his Irish debut, and So You Think he's good, he's very good. There he goes, So You Think, stretching right away, and this son of High Chaparral will win the High Chaparral European Breeders' Fund Moors Bridge Stakes in tremendous style. So You Think, Shemmy Hepburn and Claire, Bob LeBeau, Midmont Lady and Tom again.
I liked So You Think. I thought he was more handsome than his daddy, High Chaparral, and I'd probably be the greatest admirer of High Chaparral, having bought, I think, about 8 or 10 of them in New Zealand last year, and the progeny of that sire, High Chaparral, really pleases me hugely. But So You Think, I ran second to him, so I saw his tail on many occasions. Drove me crazy. And I just thought him furnished into such a lovely horse, and he had such presence and such composure.
So You Think, strongly pressed by the filly on the near side, Snow Fairy. They're going neck and neck inside the last 200. So You Think on the far side, calling on all his reserves. Snow Fairy on the near side. They're running up towards the finish, and So You Think will win the Champion Stakes at his 8th Group 1. Snow Fairy a gallant second, clear.
He's so impressive here today, but what did you make of his overseas runs? I mean, he won 5 Group 1s overseas, so he's done what no other Australian horse has done in over a period of a couple of years.
I am the greatest admirer of So You Think. I just thought he was hunky-dory, and I was so proud of him when he went over and raced for Aidan O'Brien and flew the Coolmore flag. You know, it's so nice to see an Aussie or a Southern Hemisphere colt go over there and do it. And he did it on so many occasions in so many different countries. You know, he's a horse that anyone wanting to send a mare, you can get it, as they said today, James Bester said today, you know, we forget that he won a sprinting race and he kept winning these wonderful, you know, where's all the money in Australia? If you take out the Golden Slipper and the Melbourne Cup, the two ends of the racing calendar, or the spectrum, spectrum, in the middle are all the Cox Plates, the Ranvet, these are the races, the Emirates, the Doncaster. No, they're the races that are worth so much money. They're joys to win. They're wonderful. Handicaps and weight for age races.
And it's a great roster, and Coolmore do it so well, don't they? These parade days are, you know, some of the best in the Hunter Valley, aren't they? And around Australia.
They're very professional. They're a joy to work with, and they're a pleasure to train for.
Coming home.